And hey, welcome to another episode of the Midweek Report.
The
Hi.
midweeks. Yes, it's the middle of the week. Time for news.
Time for the new news update. Hi.
Yes.
Feels like a freaking what's that? Not, I was gonna say NRA meeting. Freaking
Ooh,
AA meeting. Hello, my name is Justin. Hi, Justin. I am an alcoholic.
I use substances. What kind?
Substances.
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 The things.
The things. We all use the things, right? Those things. What things? The things.
Yes. So, what we got today,
Anyway.
Nick?
Yep, so speaking of things, yay. Yeah, that thing. That evil thing. Turns out, word on the wind is they're looking to buy or sell. Or, not sell. Buy or sell, my bad. They're looking to sell or merge. Yeah. Not sure why I said buy or sell. Maybe it's just a thought I had in my head. Anyways, so they're looking to sell out or merge with somebody. For those who don't know, recently the video game industry has been consolidating quite a bit recently. With, as of just recently, Activision Blizzard getting swapped up by Xbox and Microsoft. And before them, I believe it was, I want to say Mojang, but I don't
Mojang.
believe it was Mojang.
Mojang. Not Mojang.
The Mojang industry has all been bought, ladies and gentlemen. The
I'm like,
Chinese are rapid.
yeah, I'm like, last I checked, Mojang was from Europe, not Asia.
Makes the company, what's it called? A Mojang.
Mojang. Welcome to Mojang.
Okay, no.
Today
Okay,
we're
okay,
working on our
okay.
new Mooncraft.
Okay. Let's not offend the multicultural viewers. Still, the point is that they're looking to buy or sell, and like I said, the industry's been consolidating a bit. Activision and Blizzard recently got bought up by Xbox for a massive sum, and before them, I believe it was who was before them? It was the guys who run Blizzard.
Yeah, Activision Blizzard.
No, not them. It's not Blizzard. It's the guys who run um, Bethesda. Yeah, them. Who's the parent company of Bethesda? The big one.
Oh.
They
Oh
are an
yeah, yeah,
arcade and
yeah.
stuff like that too.
Oh yeah. Oh. I recognize their logo is the only thing I can remember right now. I can't remember their name. I
I can
legitimately
remember
can't.
the symbol.
Yeah, like that's like the epitome of like companies. It's like, yes, I remember their logo. That is literally it.
Apple, eat your heart out. But anyways, actually, no, everyone has that feeling with Apple too. So no, people remember Apple's name too. They opted for simplicity, so not that hard to remember. But so anyways, like I said, the industry's been consolidating quite a bit recently. Big players in the industry have been scooped up by even bigger players in the industry, and there's a lot less individual talent recently. And this is kind of created a clarion call, if you will, to big companies who are way more powerful than either Sony or Xbox. Things like Comcast, and we'll get into Comcast in a little bit. But basically, the rumor goes that these big companies are like, if they're consolidating, we want in, because if we can buy a company, we can get a foot in the industry immediately. Because that's kind of how, that's the beauty of when you buy a company or you merge with a company. You basically gain the assets and kind of things of that company. So you're already starting with a basis to work with. Why is that a good thing? Well, in layman's terms, that basically means you don't have to start everything from scratch and learn the industry yourself. You have people who already kind of know what they're doing at your disposal. As Amazon is learning the hard way, starting from scratch in the games industry can be very, very punishing, especially if you don't know what the frick you're doing. So, that being said, back to EA. So, like I said, EA's recently been combing the market looking for someone to buy or sell. There we go again. Someone to buy or merge with them. And why is this a big thing? Well, like I said, EA's recently been looking for, you could say, a way out of things. But this all started with this whole kind of thing of, EA merging or potentially selling out to somebody. By an article by, of all names, Pluck. Yeah, I know. Wonderful name.
Hold on.
Excuse me while I get my phone working so I can quote the article.
Yes.
Enjoy the gameplay provided by our editor.
Yes. The Republic.
Yes. The 2005 game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a bad game. I played it, actually. I was very fond of it back in the day. Baby. I only woke up recently, so...
Yeah, no.
For those who know me personally, yes, I do not get up past noon, preferably. Or I do not get up before noon, preferably. Anyways, so here we go. Got the article. So Puck, my bad, not Pluck, Puck. What a name. Anyways, so they had an article about Brian Roberts, the one that got away. Now, for those who don't know, Brian Roberts is the big shot over at Comcast. You know, the CEO of Comcast. You know, the big company that owns probably everything at this point. And a lot of the big media elite, as it says, have been wondering what Comcast is looking to buy up in the market to scale up the content. Because, you know, as the article itself says, you know, to scale up the content wars, because of right now, all the big companies from Disney to Comcast, they're all rallying everything they can media-wise to their side, so we can all have a big old media war versus people who are way richer than any of us will ever be.
You know.
That's depressing.
Don't worry about it.
To fight for the eyeballs and eye sockets of the industry of the world. Yeah, there we go. Anyways, it starts off by saying the last 4 years, Brian Roberts, the CEO of Comcast, what's he gonna buy? That's the thing around Sun Valley set, wherever that is. I'm not big into tracking the major corporate elite, so forgive me if some of these terms are foreign to me. But anyways, it starts off by saying, you know, this all kind of started with Bob Iger's takeover over Fox Entertainment assets and settled for Sky, which I believe is Sky Pictures. But basically it goes on to say a bunch of CEOs have been paying premium cash to buy stakes in the content and to buy stakes in the media industry. So technically this is all more about Brian Roberts, I mean, and how he's going to try and buy things like... Forgive me, I've never smelt an article that's like, oh, look at these rich people doing rich things more than any other time. It's basically just one CEO's name after another, and then the exuberant amount of money they've spent to buy some massive company. So, you know. I'm not kind of trying to throw shade at Puck here. This is, you know, what they do. But it feels like I'm just reading an article of like, ah, yes, look at what rich people are doing. Look at what that other rich person is doing. Look at the exorbitant amount of money that rich person is sending. Yes, yes. Rich people have a lot of money and they're willing to throw it around to get money. Anyways. I'm not bitter, you're bitter.
I don't have a problem, you do.
You do. But anyways. It eventually moves on to the topic of... how David Zashman, how he, you know, as they say, stealth merger with Warner Media, and former Times Warner Media assets, after all, would have been a boon to NBC Universal. So I'm guessing Dave Zashval, I'm guessing I pronounced his name right, is the big shot over at NBC Universal. And again, it mentions how it would be allowing them to compete more aggressively with things like Netflix and Disney and, you know, all the other big competitors. And then it finally gets to the meat of what we're talking about here, where it mentions Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella? I think I pronounced the name right. Anyway, and it mentions the Activision Blizzard merger that we mentioned before and the $69 billion that was paid for it. And of course, they just talk about it like they're just bartering with market chips, you know, IPs and stuff like that. No love of the art, just the money that comes from it.
You know.
And then it mentions Roberts, the aforementioned big shot of Comcast. And it mentions whether he was too smart, too cautious, or too late to secure any of these major deals that have been playing out. He did try hard for Fox, it mentioned, but he wanted Warner Media, which, to my knowledge, is bought out. Yeah, no, it is. He also mentions how he. It also mentions how they're curious of whether he wanted to pursue Activision or not. Certainly never got around to serious conversations. Whether the case, again, this is linked in the article below. If you don't want me, just kind of skimming over and cherry picking the points relevant to the article, because otherwise, I'd be literally quoting a article from Business Talk, and I bet most of our audience would be like, "I don't understand business legalese."
I do not know what you are talking about.
Anyways. Where exactly does it mention it? Huh, weird. It doesn't actually mention EA by name. Regardless, it mentions that, again, Roberts was interested in buying stuff, but he never got around to actual full-on buying. He just got around to talks, mostly. So anyways, like I said, it mentions how he was up in talks, and then we move on to an article by Kotaku, which mentions the EA whole business entirely. And it mentions again how the industry is consolidating and how they're the makers of Battlefield and FIFA. You know, their biggest two cash cows. Oh, maybe FIFA more than Battlefield. I'll have to check the numbers. And how they recently pursued a merger with NBC Universal. And apparently also held potential acquisition talks with both Disney and Apple. Can you imagine that? EA ruled over by Apple. One scum ruling over an even bigger scum. Brilliant.
Yes.
Now let them both roast in hellfire together. But,
Well, now.
my opinions of Apple notwithstanding. But according to a new report by Puck, the ones we just quoted, or I don't want to say quote, that's actually too kind. Cherry picked certain bits to kind of emphasize the point, I think is the more accurate way of saying what I just did. While a deal currently isn't in the works, it mentions, EA doesn't seem to be interested in giving up on the proposition of, having someone buy them. And then it mentions how media industries recently been taking a growing interest in the industry, the games industry, that is. And Wilson, who I believe is one of the former mentioned big shots, and Electronic Arts held talks with a number of different potential. Oh yeah, no, Wilson is the CEO of Electronic Arts. The scummy. But anyways, he held a talk with different companies and potential. I love how he calls it suitors, as if they're looking for a marriage partner. Including things like, again, aforementioned Disney, Apple, Amazon. But apparently, according to veterans in the industry, again, I'm paraphrasing from the article here, it seems the acquisition by acquisition by Microsoft of Activision has only made EA more emboldened to try and get someone to buy them. And on a personal note, may I just say, this does certainly say something. Maybe even big CEOs that have megabucks are smart enough to know that EA is the freaking plague. Disney wasn't smart enough at the time, but they kind of proved it after the massive failure of EA's catalog.
Yeah.
So it is kind of funny to see them try and pursue other people to buy them after the major screw-up that was their attempt at the Star Wars license. What's worse than being greedy in the business world? Being inept. But, anyways, moving on. It seems that those familiar with the deal are saying specifically that EA is primarily interested in a merger arrangement. So for those who aren't aware, that's basically a deal where one company becomes a part of the other company as a subsidiary, but not a full-on part of the company. They act independently, but they're on each other's payroll. This, for the most part, allows the command structure of the company to remain mostly the same. And typically allows, because it's basically you're just having the company run as a pseudo version of yourself, you have the entire command structure of that company, still intact from what it was. Now, long spiel short as to why they're more interested in this, it allows Wilson, the aforementioned CEO of EA, to remain in his position as CEO. So there you go.
Oh. So,
But apparently it was a...
we'll see how we'll see how it all works out then on that.
Yeah, well, apparently, like it says, the deal with NBC Universal was apparently the one that got the farthest. But apparently, and here we go, mentioning Bob Roberts again, the aforementioned Comcast CEO, was looking to spin off the entertainment conglomerate into a separate entity with EA, with one version of the deal leaving current EA CEO Wilson in charge of the new mega media business, which, I can't see that going bad at all. But apparently the negotiation eventually fell apart over, of all things, price. Typical. As for EA themselves, they refused to comment on the rumors speculating to the market acquisition bit. And they go on to mention, and I find this kind of funny, we are proud to be operating from a position of strength and growth, with a portfolio of amazing games built and around powerful IPs made by incredible talented teams, of which we all bought, and a network of more than 500 million players. We see a very bright future ahead of us. Again, half of them probably FIFA players. But whatever. Hey, I'll take the chance to throw shade at EA whenever I can, guys. And to any potential buyers, if they ever come across this video, I doubt they will, but if they ever do, be forewarned. Do not touch EA. They have a history in this industry, and it basically is like this. Forgive the explicitives, but the term is scoop up and screw up. I won't spell it out for you, but I think I know what. But for those who kind of need like a little extra help there, they buy a studio. They milk the studio dry, which I'm sure in business talk is just common daily practice. And then when it fails to meet extreme demands of probably excessive monetization practices, after, all the fans have been bled away because of the bastardization of the franchise, whatever the franchise may be, they then proceed to shut down the studio and repeat the process. So yeah. Anyone with half a brain cell would be smart enough to not touch EA with a 10-foot pole. But hey, that's just my opinion on the matter.
Yeah.
Not like that's been proven at all. No. With Visceral and a bunch of other studios, but I digress.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry about that. So anyways, there you have it. EA's attempts to buy or merge. Looks like they're aiming more towards merge, like I said, because then that would allow them to keep their current power structure and more specifically keep the current sitting CEO in his seat. Because what else would he do without all that FIFA money?
Yeah, what can you do?
I still find it funny that they say operating from a position of growth and strength after having historically screwed up just about every company they got their hands on, and then just proceed to use their FIFA money to buy a new one. It's equivalent of saying, look at all our toys, as they proceed to break a toy and then immediately buy a newer one. But anyways, like I said, I'll take the chance to throw shade at EA, well, FIFA extension too, whenever I can. So But anyways, there you have it. Looks like a potential merger for EA is in the cards. Whether it'll happen, who actually knows? And then the article itself goes on to mention, different studios that have been bought up as of recently. The Grand Theft Auto publisher Take-Two announcing that it bought Zynga and Microsoft for 12.7 billion. Microsoft announcing it was planning to buy the Call of Duty maker Activision Blizzard for 69 million. And that actually happened. Sony followed weeks later with a deal to buy the studio behind Destiny 2, so Bungie for 3.6 million. Look at all this money, doesn't it mean something? Basically, again, it's just kind of reinforcing that the industry is consolidating, which is, on a side note, creating growing concerns that there's less individual talent in the industry these days and just a bunch of mega media conglomerates. So it's basically like TV all over again. And there might be a time when there's no independent creators in the industry anymore, which might be a problem. Actually, no, it will be a problem.
You know.
But that's a concern for another day. And another video with another topic line. Is the gaming industry screwed? Am I going to be out of a job soon? ... But
Dot.
yeah. We will see. We will see. Like I said, the industry is consolidating. The aforementioned content war is mentioned in Puck's article, which again is linked down below along with this Kotaku article. It mentions this whole content wars bit, and it does seem to be getting really big, and it seems to be finally pushing into the games industry. My best guess is that's because people are starting to see the games industry is actually a source of massive revenue. And so, make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, they're getting into this because they smell cash. They're not getting into this for the love of the art. And as EA and Blizzard back in its heyday proved, or Activision Blizzard, let's be honest, Activision just hollowed out Blizzard and wore it like a skin suit. Anyways, as they've shown back in the day, those who don't love the art and are only interested in cash can and very much will bastardize the industry just to make a quick profit. Like I said, EA has perfected the motto of scoop up and screw up. And Blizzard has just been and Activision Blizzard has basically just been cranking out Call of Duty 25 for the last... How many years have they been making Call of Duty again? I don't remember,
Don't know.
But basically they just take Call of Duty, recycle it, and then that's next year's product, so...
There you go.
Like I said, I'd personally be interested in keeping these kind of money huggers out of the industry because I doubt they're going to be doing anything good for the industry. They're just going to try and scoop up as much cash as they can to fund their, the aforementioned content wars on their probably more preferred platforms like television or media, which even some would argue I'm not into TV, but I would imagine that people who are into TV are even saying that TV content might be also taking a dip these days because of the amount of, shit that companies are just throwing at the board and seeing what sticks. Hell, they've got $1 billion money. If they failed one business, screw it. They just make another one and throw that one too.
Yep. Don't worry about it.
And as I mentioned, I think before, Amazon has proven the hard way, I think, that you can't just force your way into this industry because you're just rich and you have a lot of money. You can't just buy your way into this industry, or at least not that way. You can't just be like, I have a lot of money, therefore I will make a good product in the games industry. You actually have to know what you're doing. Shocker, shocker. To be good at something, you actually have to know what you're doing. I know. Revolutionary concept, ladies and gentlemen. But... as Amazon has proved, like I said, you can't just have a butt ton of money and expect to do good in the industry because you can just, hire the best developers and this. You actually have to know what sells. Which might be, like I said, why these big shots over in the other media industry are looking to the games industry and is like, okay, we can't force our way in because Amazon has proved that's one-way path to hell. So we'll buy us something that knows what they're doing and work from there. Disney has kind of been, well, I don't want to say has been doing this. They've been working with Square Enix for years now. They used to, fun fact, on a side, I'm getting on a lot of side tangents today. Fun fact, back in the day, Disney actually used to run a game studio themselves. They actually were in the games industry themselves. They made a few interesting good games. Spectrobes was one of the ones they made under their own umbrella. I personally liked it. It was a DS game from back in the day, one of the earlier ones.
There you
I
go.
liked it. Had a tenure on the Wii, but eventually Disney was just like, you know what, we're making product, yeah, but we're not making the numbers we want. So we're just going to find a studio that's far more successful than us, license out our franchise to them, and they can worry about the specifics on how to sell it. And they partnered with Square Enix, and that's how we got the Final Fantasy series. Or not Final Fantasy. That's how we got the oh my god, Kingdom Hearts series. And that partnership has been going strong to this day. So yeah, Disney just kind of leases out their stuff these days and doesn't make anything themselves. They close down their own studio and have just been,
Yeah.
finding a studio that looks like they know what they're doing, and they're just like, here, make a product for us.
Do something for us, please.
That's how we got the Kingdom Hearts series with Square Enix, and then they tried to do the same thing with EA and give them the Star Wars brand, and yeah, that didn't play out good. Not at all. No. But EA no longer has exclusivity on the thing, so hopefully we'll see an uptick in good Star Wars games. Trailers and industry insiders have kind of shown that, well, I want to say insiders, but the industry has already kind of shown that there's good things on the horizon with a new Old Republic remake, as well as the aforementioned Star Wars Eclipse made by Quantum Dream, the guys who did Become Human, I believe it's called. The robot game.
Detroit Become Human.
That one.
You know, that robot game.
Yeah, that robot game. I've never played it. It feels like a live action visual novel. I don't know. Maybe I am right on that assumption.
No, it's one of those games where it's kind of just a point and decide adventure kind of thing. You get given decisions every once in a while. You get the occasional like rapid succession of hit the button before or else you
quick
reset.
time events.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that shit in the industry since the early days of things like Uncharted.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how it works when it comes to the story, like the game storytelling games, is they tend to have like the rapid those quick time events.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Well, there you go. It'll be interesting to see what Star Wars game they make. Like I said, they did the Become Human game and a few other games. People say they're good games. I don't know. I've never played them. Not throwing any shade on them personally. That's just not what I'm into.
Yeah.
I buy visual novel games for things like anime and stuff like that, just because I'm into anime. I'll admit that. I'll admit that I'm that guy. But and he's seen me buy them. He's seen me buy one too. Slowly continues to judge me from afar. But but yeah, no, I wouldn't be into that kind of fully narrative thing for games anyway. It's why I don't like Dead by Daylight, for example, which I think is also another game in that kind of sub niche genre, which apparently also was very good. But like I said, I don't know. The whole deciding game through point and click thing doesn't exactly appeal to me. If it appeals to you, then good for you. It's just not my thing.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's that to look forward to when it eventually comes along as they work on it and everything.
Yeah, my guess, and a lot of people's big guess, is that one's very early on into development.
Yeah.
So we probably won't see that one until at least 2024 at best. So don't hold your breath on that one. I would expect to see the Old Republic remake probably sooner because there's less to work off with there. Because the Old Republic already exists; they just have to update it.
Yeah, if anything, they're probably just gonna update the graphics, update some of the features when it comes to like gameplay, combat and whatnot. Because when you do play like the old game, I guess you could say, because the new one's gonna be coming out. There's moments where it's janky, to say the least.
Yeah.
Especially when like you're switching from enemy to enemy and your camera kind of glitches out for a moment and goes off into space. So.
Yeah. No.
Like there's a few things that they'll probably work on, but other than that, I'd bet it's mostly going to be along the lines of just graphical improvements.
I originally played it on the Xbox 360 for the backwards compatibility from the original Xbox, because that was when it was actually made for the original Xbox.
Yeah.
And I played it backwards compatibility. First off, weirdly enough, there's actually a little bit of funny story I'll tell you all for this. My first experience with that game was weirdly enough while sitting at the dentist. Yeah, true story.
There you go.
When I was young, I was sitting at the dentist. I believe it was early into getting my braces, or actually no, it was a cleaning I think that day. And my parents were both in there, and I'm sitting there, little 6, 7-year-old me, sitting there, and they have an Xbox, so I'm playing the Xbox, and I'm like, ooh, there's a Star Wars game, and that was the Star Wars: The Old Republic game, and I'm like, ooh, this is actually a very good game. So as we leave, I'm like, Ma, Dad, I have to have this game.
Give
Now, give me game.
trade
Of
me.
course. Of course, I'm not. Of course, even as a 7-year-old, I'm not entirely stupid. I've already kind of been looking for games for older consoles at this point too. Back when I was originally filling out my Sly Cooper collection for the PlayStation 2. Again, this is back when we already had the PlayStation 3. So I was well aware that games of older generations were a lot harder to find, especially one specific game.
Mhm.
So I went around looking for a while. I eventually got lucky though, and eventually found it at EB Games for Xbox. So I bought that, and I have it now, and it's still sitting in my collection. Now that I actually have backwards compatibility with the old games, I'm hoping I can actually play it on the old 360 these days. I eventually did get the PC version as well for the first game and the second game. Never installed it, but I have the disc somewhere.
Oh, there you go.
But yes.
for myself, I've got the old Xbox version.
Mm.
My dad got that quite a while ago. He used to play it occasionally, every once in a while.
Your old man, really?
Yes, that's how I got into Halo. Halo
Really?
being my very first video game. Yes.
Fun fact about my family, since we're sharing family histories.
Ah, yes. Welcome to the welcome to the History Channel.
Welcome to the History Channel. Today we talk about our ancestors, one generation back. But well, the funny thing is, I just kind of find that funny because my father, way back in the day, used to play not Halo. He had Halo. He actually has the massive Master Chief head, and in fact, I'll probably show you that later. You might find it funny. You might find it interesting. But he played it, but not really much at the time, right?
Yeah.
And of course, when you have my mother, who is a person who didn't believe in TV even when she was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Strange how I grew up the way I did.
You know.
It's like,
It
oh,
is what
you
it
believe in...
is.
Yeah, it is what it is. So it's kind of funny to hear you're like, hey, my old man used to play video games. I'm just sitting here like, your old man played video games? That's a thing? That's
Oh
a
my
thing?
god. You mean to
Oh
tell me people
God.
played video games? And actually played it for enjoyment?
Nowadays, he just like, I want Flight Simulator, so I buy him the new expensive Flight Simulator. It's like,
There you go.
he's like, okay, you have Flight Simulator, but yes, I want the massive setup with the whole steering stick column and everything. I'm like, well, give me a hammer and I'll renovate a part of the house for you then.
Yeah. Expensive adventure. Here we go.
Honestly, I give him the new Flight Simulator game, and he's like, thanks, son. Now I just, need the whole flight steering column and thing and everything, because he actually has seen people with the whole, anyone who's seen, like,
Those
the
whole
simulator
setup.
flight, the whole setup for, the whole
Yeah.
setup for Flight Simulator, essentially. He wants that. I'm like, boy.
Yes, sure. Just give me like a couple months and a couple $100 and I might be able to get something. Maybe.
Not even a couple $100. You need like at least 1,000. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
I'm just being light about it. We all know it. That shit's super expensive.
Honestly.
It's like
Uh,
Immersion 100 cost 0. Oh wait, no, wait a minute. A lot
bank
more.
account 0.
Bank
bank
account
account
negative.
0. Bank account -1. Charisma +6. Bank account -1.
Achievement get, was it worth it?
What? Was it worth it? Honestly. But anyways, So that's the video, guys. It was actually a crapshoot today. We were debating about talking about the new Sea of Thieves thing, or the Destiny expansion, and Justin over here was like, "Yeah, but we've done things recently like that." I'm like, "Yeah, we have." So
And
I spent last night looking.
frankly, to me, it's only been a day. Like for the Bungie alone, it's only been one day. And for Sea of Thieves, I don't know how long it's been, but I'd figure it's like super
I think they
recently.
haven't even started recently. I think it's only
So
like the 27th they're starting. So
okay, so then yeah, I would figure give it at least a week for Bungie alone, because then by then like all the main things you'd get a chance to really look into and everything.
yeah, so we're not spoiling anybody in content wise, and
Yeah.
we're not accidentally spoiling this
Like
plot. 'Cause
if you're already like a week or two
me,
in and you haven't even done the intro mission that you get forced into for Destiny,
we can't help you.
no, I can't help you there, it's literally the thing that you get dragged into. It's like Destiny's like, we got a new thing for you. You come here, little one.
I had my mission literally glitch out on me because of connection issues, so I got booted out.
Well,
I had to go back in.
I told you, but I'll tell the audience real quick. Turns out, when you go, so I'll give a quick rundown because no matter what, you're gonna do this if you get into Destiny. You're gonna get thrown onto the Leviathan because the Leviathan comes in, and you're gonna be in the Leviathan raid area where you get the Callus robot boss. So eventually, you work your way to the boss room to try to figure out what's going on because you're like, okay, ship back, what going on? Who here?
He back, what do?
Hello,
He back.
Cabal, explain what you do.
Explain. Looks like a ball. Explain.
So you find out, oh, Moon's haunted, but this time ship haunted. Part 2. Presage
Who's
part.
on it? Part two.
Presage part 2.
Honestly, that's the feel you get during the Ultra mission.
And so you find a destroyed robot Callus. He laughs at you. A bunch of haunted figures decide to show up, and you need to escape. Turns out, when that moment starts, a wall gets placed over the door, and an enemy will spawn to kind of trap you. And the moment they're defeated, the door opens. Turns out, if you're fast enough and you defeat that enemy the moment they spawn, you can glitch the game out, and instead of making it a kill zone where if you die you get reset, you die and it's like, oh, it's like any other day. It's like a patrol sector. Death is irrelevant to me. So it's like you get characters freaking out, being like, "Run, you're gonna die," and then I'm sitting here like, "No, I'm
To
not.
what?
My
what?
ghost is just gonna bring me back after 5 seconds."
You know that you've said that. If Bungie ever hears, they're gonna patch that now.
There's not really much to patch because, like, I don't think you can replay it, so it doesn't really matter.
True,
And no matter what, like after that moment where like you kind of get quote unquote trapped for a second and need to escape, you're immediately right after going to the end of the mission. Like you're literally just walking out the door and it's like, all right, I'm free now. Time to actually go back to normal Destiny. So, like if it was
Normal being
replayable,
haunted.
no, like if it was replayable, then I can understand going and making it so that they patch that out because yeah.
I do know. I think there's a section in the throne room, but that's later on in the weeks. We haven't gotten to that yet. They have shown that in the cutscenes, though. from,
Yeah,
like, the
no,
trailer, so-
right. As of right now, I'll say there's only really 2 areas that are open because they kind of quote unquote made it a public area. Like it's a public area,
Weirdly.
but yeah, like you don't get really a map to see where you need to be or anything, and there's only one landing zone, and you kind of have
My
to
guess is
walk
'cause we're
everywhere
shift
as
around.
if you were in the raid again. So for anyone who has nightmares about walking around in the raid for hours on end to find one place or another, welcome to that again.
Welcome to, yeah. But with even worse because it's got fungal over, bro. So have fun.
Yeah, so if you prayed Presage, welcome to Presage Part 2. And
honestly,
pretty much the only 2 areas that are open is the Pleasure Gardens,
and the royal pool.
yeah, the Royal Pool, and then the initial area where you go to all the different rooms. The Gauntlet area, that one is kind of open, but it's only really open with the initial
mission.
with the initial mission that's for this week.
Yeah.
So
But we're not going to give too much away.
yeah,
So.
no, I'm not gonna say anything about the mission, but if you want to get there,
Mhm.
you have to do the mission, and the actual throne room is only accessible at the very beginning. So
My
I
my
don't
best guess
I
is
don't
that
know what Bungie got planned for what's gonna be open later or not, but there you go.
my best guess is since there's multiple areas in the raid, what they might do is they might have those rooms cycle
Yeah.
over the weeks. Because that would explain why there's no map, because the thing's going to constantly cycle every week. So every week the map would be out of date anyway.
Hmm.
Plus, there's no maps for the raids anyway, so they probably just took the raid environment, superimposed it, filled it with fungi, and were like, there, new area.
Yep. I've done my job today. Job's done.
Job's done. But I mean, hey, they did do quite a bit of remodeling, so it's not an entire
Yes.
copy paste job. It's not like back with the Elixni Splicer quarter where it's like very much copy paste.
Yeah,
Like the
like
spawn
the
locations are even there still.
yeah, like the door, like the little doorway thing that Bungie has set up for all their maps, where there's a doorway, but there's this weird dark wall at it. Like those are
Basically
still
where they
there.
spawn the enemies.
And although the Elixni Quarter was actually used at the very end of Season of the Splicer as like
An actual arena.
an arena, like an arena for one final
For mission.
fight.
Yeah.
Those doorways weren't used. Like I actually thought, okay, we're gonna be coming back here and fighting, and those doorways are gonna get used. No, no, the enemies just spawn. It's like, oh, okay, cool, whatever, fine.
Yeah, they just kind of
Fine.
they probably just in fact, now that I think about it, both that area and this area are former raid locations.
Yes.
So is Bungie just like, hey, we're gonna need a new area, but we don't want to make a new area. Ooh, idea. We'll take an old area, redress it a little bit, and we'll call that a new area.
Yeah,
Brilliant!
but the redressing compared to Season of the Splicer and this season
It's
is
much more extensive.
very
Yeah.
drastic. Like
I mean, and
When-
Season
when
of the
you're
Splice
running-
literally just like
when you're running within the Leviathan, like in the little tunnel system, you're gonna find some areas that are gonna be cut off, basically. Like you're gonna look at an area and be like, "Oh, I used to be able to go that way, didn't I?" Right?
Yeah.
Right? Didn't I? Yeah, no, you're good. Don't worry about it. The weird goo stuff
Well-
blocked it off.
I mean, like, the whole thing is, like, back in Season of Splicer, the arena was like, here's this little sect of the area where the, like, Elixni have set up.
Yeah.
And then here's all the rest of the raid arena just unused, and it's like, okay. Whereas in this time, it's like, the Leviathan is there, and they're using a good chunk of it. But they've also redressed the whole thing, like, with fungi, so...
Yeah.
It does look... You have that layer of, like, I've been here before, but it does look very different.
Well, there you go. Hopefully.
But anyways, we'll save that for that video. So,
Yeah, hopefully
how
you
long have we been
enjoyed
going?
our 43 minutes.
okay, we'll cut off here.
But yeah, no,
trying to
hopefully
keep
you
it
enjoyed
short.
our little talking back and forth about this. Providing that little entertainment aspect of it all. Our bit of quote unquote history.
the history segment.
So yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed that. And keep an update for what EA has planned, because obviously EA would want to be merging rather than being bought, but I'd figured
Otherwise, they're still
either way would probably be good for them. So there you go.
For us,
Well-
maybe too, because another company might use it less scummy. But then again, depending on who buys it, that might be a given.
Yes.
Like I said, if Apple buys it, we're all screwed. But
Well, if Apple buys it, expect them to just constantly release a new console and not really release any new games.
they'll do it
the
like they do
exact
the Apple
same
phone.
console, but they're just gonna move like 3 wires.
Well, in fairness, Apple is already somewhat in the games industry. They are trying to play the mobile games sect.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
except all they really do is do what Valve does, which is create a platform for other people to put games onto, and then just heavily set up a means to go and take most of the money.
The difference is Valve was successful.
Yes. And Valve goes and has like a bunch of other subsections of their little thing that allows it to be successful, aka people can set up trading for different games, people can set up communities, people can even set up a section for mods if they can if the game allows it. So user interactivity. We'll see.
Hmm.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
leave it there, though, folks. Anyways, I'm Nick. This is Justin. This has been the Win Week. The Win Week report. God.
Winning.
Win Week. The winning week. Oh my god, my tongue is dead. This has been the midweek report. And as always, good night.